Namo Amida Bu. I've been a Buddhist and a man of Shinjin for quite a few years. And never once have I felt the inclination to worry when I would turn and open myself up to Amida Buddha and allow myself to be vulnerable and to share with Amida Buddha my deepest, most intimate thoughts. I never for a moment felt that Amida or any Buddha would lead me down a path of suffering and pain just because he wanted to. I never really thought, I never thought that a Buddha would lead me down a path of suffering and pain, period. Now, growing up a Christian, I used to hear many sermons from pastors who would say, yeah, you better be careful when you turn to God and you ask God for something, because God's going to usually find the hardest, most difficult way for you to get what you want, and usually it ain't going to be what you want. That's because gods tend to be unenlightened beings. Well, they are unenlightened. If they were enlightened, they wouldn't be gods, they would be Buddhas. Now, usually I don't feel the need to petition Amida in prayer. I say Nembutsu. I connect to him. I have such confidence in Amida that I no longer need to make a bunch of long-winded, wordy prayers like I used to when I would talk to God, Jesus, when I was a Christian. I know Amida Buddha knows my heart. He knows the innermost depths of my heart, my mind, my emotions. And therefore, I don't need to coach him as an unenlightened being on how to help me in life. All things are before a Buddha, the beginning, the end, and everything in between. A Buddha understands and knows all things, all variables, far beyond the knowledge of any god, of any spirit, of any demon, of any entity that is unenlightened. Because Buddhas are enlightened. But there are moments in my life where confusion and fear and worry take hold. Or if I'm going through a terrible situation in my life where I don't know how to handle it or what the next step is, it is certainly right and proper to ask Amida for guidance. Now, I'm going to clarify, when I ask Amida for guidance, I just pour out my heart to Amida, trusting completely and knowing that Amida understands what I feel and appreciates and loves me. He appreciates me, he appreciates what I feel, he appreciates what I'm going through. And so I don't need to go into this big petition to help him to understand or be sympathetic with me in whatever situation I'm in. Because the love of an enlightened Buddha is so much more advanced than that of an unenlightened deity or spirit. That there's rarely a need for me to ask Amida's guidance, because I know that guidance is a given. Through the primal vow, I know that in my next life, I will be born a Buddha in my next life. But I also know in the meantime, and this is not the primal vow, this is life as a man of faith in the Saha realm. I know that in the meantime, Amida Buddha is always with me. He is only a Nimbutsu away. In fact, he never leaves. I never have to say prayers like, "Oh Buddha, be merciful to me. Oh Buddha, do not lead me in astray." I mean, I don't have to worry. This is not the being that likes to destroy nations in his name. This is not the being that takes delight in animal sacrifice. This is not the being that wants me to lay my crown down at his feet and praise him for all eternity. Buddhists are not narcissists. They are the total opposite of a narcissist. For a narcissist, it's all about me. For a narcissist, it's all about you should be more than happy to praise and worship me. Don't you know who I am? That's a narcissist. That's most CEOs, if not all. That's most, if not all, people in Hollywood, and that's most, if not all, gods and deities, asuras. Some may have more compassion than others, but ultimately, it is about being served. Buddhas, on the other hand, wish to bring enlightenment. I don't need to worry when I talk to Buddha heart to heart and open myself up in the deepest parts of my being, my deepest doubts and fears and worries, my feelings of uncertainty, that somehow out of capricious glee, this Buddha is going to actually bring that about to teach me a lesson. That's more what the God I used to worship is known for doing. To toughen me up, to give me faith. But that's the thing. My faith does not come from a God. My faith is not something that can be toughened up. My faith comes from a Buddha. Therefore, it is perfect and diamond-like. It is indeed the only aspect of my personality. And it's not an aspect of my personality. It's perfect and diamond-like. And that's why it's perfect and diamond-like. It comes from the greatest of all Buddhas, Amitabha, the Buddha of infinite light and life. I can't improve on that. And this faith tells me that if I, because of the promise Amida made in the 18th primal vow, that all who entrust themselves to him, say his name in faith, and wish to be born in his pure land will surely be born there. Any Buddha who could be this way, have this mindset toward the most broken people like me. This Buddha isn't a trickster. This Buddha isn't a righteous God filled with righteous anger, meting out righteous punishments like suffering an internal torment in an eternal hell, cast away from the love of this so-called God. But then again, who would want the love of such a God? The Buddha's love is perfect. The Buddha's love is transcendent. I can have no greater confidence than to entrust myself to Amitabha Buddha. I can have no greater confidence than to know I have poured out my heart and allowed myself to open up completely and be vulnerable to him. I can have complete confidence that this Buddha is not going to use my fears, my insecurities to hurt me or to lead me into a terrible situation that's going to toughen me up. Because Buddha, Amitabha Buddha knows we as unenlightened beings don't toughen up. We just become cold. We just become bitter. We just become angry and faithless when life crushes us. So what this Buddha does is give me love. What this Buddha does is give me a perfect love. A love that transcends anything I can ever imagine. A love that goes far beyond any description of divine love and poetry. Amitabha Buddha is infinite light and life. Amitabha's love cannot be grasped with my unenlightened, stupid human mind. This is why I can have full confidence in Amitabha Buddha. This is why there is no need for me to doubt his compassion. Amitabha Buddha is always there guiding me. I have never had more confidence in a being or a religious or philosophical ideology than I have now in Orthodox Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. Because I know that I worship and adore and serve the greatest of all Buddhas, Amitabha. I adore, worship, and serve someone who loves me in a way that I cannot understand. A total love, a complete love, a love without requirements or conditions. Amitabha is my dearest friend. Amida Buddha cares about me. And so I urge you, no matter what you're going through in life, there's no need to hesitate in opening yourself up to Amitabha Buddha. Ask for his guidance when you feel unsure of your path. Seek his light. Seek his wisdom in your life. And entrust yourself to him, say his name in faith, and wish to be born in his pure land of ultimate bliss and peace. And when you do that, you can rest assured he will be true to his word, for he is an enlightened Buddha, the greatest of all beings. Namo Amida Bu.